welcome back to the Game Junkies podcast, the place which brings you all the latest game news, releases, and content. I'm your host Chris, and I'm joined with my co-host Jack.
Good afternoon, everybody.
How's your launch week been, Jack? How's it been considering,
my launch week?
Well, I say it's launch week. It's launch week for PlayStation 5.
Yeah, I don't have a PlayStation
Xbox.
5, so I don't know why you're trying to rub it in.
Yeah, and also the Xbox
Doesn't have any launch.
One of them either.
Yeah.
That's kind of awkward now. I feel.
Is there a particular reason you're trying to bring this up?
No, I think we should just move. I think we
Fueling
should just move past it.
my sadness.
I think we should just move past it and go on to the question of the week, because otherwise I think this is going to be.
We might end the episode here, boys.
So it's kind of related to what we're going to talk about in the news later. But what would you say your game of the year is? 2020.
My game of the year.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I haven't played that many games this year because it's mostly been PlayStation related.
And most of the games you played have been from like 2010, right? Skyrim 2011.
Yeah, that's your problem there.
Based on what you've seen around the media, and I'm guessing you've watched a lot of YouTube videos and gameplays and stuff like that, what would you think is going to be your sort of, that looks like a game of the year for me?
My game of the year is definitely Cyberpunk.
Yeah,
it's not out yet, but I'm so hyped for it and I'm so ready for it.
That's a bold statement.
It's a bold statement, but I think it'll be everyone's game of the year. It just looks fantastic, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's bold that you said it's going to be a game of the year when it's not even out yet.
Yeah, I know, right? Even though the several delays it's had, I trust them. They're a good team.
They are good,
and the game just looks amazing. So,
okay, well, I probably would say The Last of Us Part 2 is my sort of game of the year.
I'm shocked because I swear on like every episode you talk about how hyped you are for Cyberpunk.
I am, but I'm not going to judge a game before it's out because I've learned from my mistakes, and I've done that before, and I've overhyped a game and I end up getting disappointed.
I don't think we can overhype this game.
I know, but I just don't want to get disappointed. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I mean, you chose quite a controversial game of the year, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it is controversial. I think you either loved it or you hated it.
In terms of yeah, but in terms of like the opinions on the game, it was quite a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
I found.
But I'd say that's my game of the year. Or maybe Final Fantasy VII Remake was definitely a close second.
Okay, Ghost of Tsushima not up there?
I mean, I enjoyed it. It's a really good game. I'm not really a big fan of that setting, so it's not, they couldn't really do anything for me. I'm not really a big fan of the whole samurai sort of era.
What do you have against them? What have they done to you?
It just doesn't scream to me, really. It's not personal against them. It just doesn't scream to me.
Company.
Really. So I guess do you want to segue us on to our news segment?
The news.
Nice. Okay. So PlayStation are planning a response to Xbox Game Pass. I mean, they kind of already do have a response to it. It's just not as good, right?
No.
So this comes directly from IGN. Sony Interactive Entertainment CEO Jim Ryan says there's news to come on a PlayStation response to Xbox Game Pass, Microsoft's popular subscription-based game service. In an interview with TASS, TASS, whatever you want to look at it, Ryan was asked about how PlayStation will respond to Game Pass, which has become an increasingly attractive value proposition for Xbox in recent years. While not explaining exactly what the response will be, Ryan did make clear that there is actually news to come, but just not today. Okay, so I think we knew there was going to be something. They had to do something, right? Because, like it sort of says in the quote, that Xbox has done with this Game Pass has done so well. It's their main
definitely.
selling point.
Yeah.
And I think PlayStation needed to have that sort of counter to it, or
they needed to rival
counter.
it somehow.
I know they have this in PlayStation 5. They have this PlayStation Plus collection, but it's only about 20 games. And I know they're big games, but it's just not enough. I mean, Xbox Game Pass has 100, I want to say.
A bit more, I think.
But just over 100. And it is fantastic. You pay what, £10 a month, or dollars, whatever you're looking at.
And the thing is, it's including Xbox Live, it's including Game Pass, it's also including EA Play as well.
And I mean,
there's 100. I think there's 90 games in EA Play.
I mean, you probably know more about it than me because obviously you're primarily on Xbox. But
yes.
What are the games like on there? Are they quite popular games? I mean, you recently said
it's not like it's gone. Sorry,
I was going to say you recently said that they added EA Game Pass to it as well.
Yeah.
And also, I think you said I don't want to spoil the game of the week for you, but You mentioned that they've got Destiny 2 and all of the DLCs on it, right?
Well, I mean, that isn't my game of the week, so I don't know what you're spoiling there.
Oh,
okay.
You're shocked. Never mind. I thought I was
yes, they have a huge variety of games on there. You have a lot of small indie games to big AAA titles. I feel like I'm doing like an announcement trailer for doing like advertisement for Microsoft right now. And yeah, they recently added EA Play, which is part of the new deal.
Yeah. They
added for the Xbox Series X, which is standard, but they also added it to the older current gen Xboxes, which is quite handy. It's quite user friendly, which is nice. Which so you get an additional 90 extra games.
Okay.
And, there's some good, heavy hitters in EA. You got plenty of Star Wars games. You got the Crysis games. You got Dead Space. You got Mass Effect. You have big titles in there.
Yeah,
and you got all the sports games. If you're a sports fan, you like FIFA and I don't know what else. I've forgotten whatever sports games
Madden,
are there.
I want to say
Madden. There's Madden. I think there was cricket on there and golf.
Cricket is a good one. Yeah. So you have EA do all the sports games, right?
Yeah. So there's a lot to choose from. It's quite a good package that they brought out. So I'm not surprised PS5 want to kind of rival that because it's a huge selling point.
Do you think they will just scrap PlayStation Now? Because I guess PlayStation Now is their sort of counter to it.
I don't think they'll.
Do you think they'll
either scrap it or they'll add on to it?
Yes.
Because they got a good base. They have good solid games on there. They just need to expand it. Personally,
I personally think they'll just revamp it. So I think they'll just be like, look, we're just gonna go from the start to the drawing board, and it's still gonna be called PlayStation Now, but we're gonna sort of assess what games are on there and what we're gonna do in the future. That's what I think will happen.
I mean, what games do you think PS Now are missing?
I don't know what it is about PlayStation Now. I mean, it just doesn't have as recent games as Xbox Game Pass, so it just seems like Sony are using it as a sort of background and not prioritizing it. So a lot of people are obviously going to.
It's just something that, it's there on the side if you want to use it, but it's not. You don't have to worry about it.
But I mean, if PlayStation come out with a counter to Xbox Game Pass and it's as good as Game Pass, I feel sorry for Xbox.
Yes, because unfortunately, Game Pass is their main selling point, isn't it?
It is their main selling point, and PlayStation doing really well in terms of the PlayStation Plus collection, in terms of the free monthly games you get as well. They're doing really well with them. So I mean, if they come out with an amazing response to this, it's going to be hell for Xbox.
I would tell you the free games that come with Xbox Gold are not good.
No,
they're never good. They always have the
usually
3 or 4 titles.
Game. I mean,
there was always a Lego game, and it's always classic either Xbox original or Xbox 360 games.
Yeah,
and it's just not good.
So I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they actually do come up with.
Yeah, friendly competition. I'm fine with that. I hope they have that because it's only a good thing for PlayStation players, right?
Exactly. So, do you want to take
We're all friends here.
The next news story. Yeah, end console wars. # end console wars. That's right.
Thank you, exactly.
Do you want to take the next news story? I thought I'd add this in for a little bit of, comedic effect, I guess, to the podcast, because we're not funny.
This is either comedic or extremely sad. I feel sorry for these people. So, basically, the title of this, everyone, it's Amazon PlayStation 5 customers are receiving toys, cat food, or simply nothing. Would you guess that? Is that the first thing that comes to mind when you expect a PlayStation?
I don't know. I feel like this PlayStation 5 launch has really shown how evil the world can actually be. I mean, before we even go into Amazon, right? There was I can't remember who where you ordered it from, but Yodel, the delivery company, apparently were. As soon as they received the package, people get an email saying they've received the package. Yodel has received it. A couple of seconds later, they got another email saying your package has been lost. So someone stole it.
What?
So someone stole it, essentially. So people are
stole it?
Yeah, so people are just stealing PlayStations. And then
That's nice.
Bad, isn't it? Scalpers, and then just sell them on eBay. If you're a scalper and you're listening, we do not approve of
We hate you.
methods. Yeah, we hate you. That's not good.
Yeah, selling a PlayStation for 1,200 quid.
But yeah, sorry, carry on.
So this is from Eurogamer. Imagine securing a PlayStation 5 for launch day. Anxiously waiting for your console to arrive?
I'm closing
then
my eyes
opening
and
its
put
box
myself
to
in
find
the situation.
exactly. Oh God, it's lucky you got your PlayStation. So then opening its box to find a kitchen appliance instead, or cat food, or nothing ever being delivered at all, despite your order being marked as completed. Imagine that. Imagine how sad you would
I'm
be.
gonna be honest with you. Like, I ordered from Amazon, and I did have this worry.
You're one of the lucky
Like,
ones.
no, but I did have this worry. Like, what if they don't deliver it? What if someone steals it? What if it's just I open the package and
Delayed.
it's like a PlayStation 4 or something? Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I
I
had
think
a
that'd be
really
hilarious.
bad panic, but yeah.
Okay, well, apparently this is what's happened to a number of Amazon UK customers over the past 24
Not
hours.
just one or two, a number. Good for
That's
you.
insane, I know. In a situation which has left people trying to get a refund, and with PS5 stocks severely limited, the task of finding a console all over again. The first sporadic reports of the wrong items being delivered initially. Thank you
It's a
for
very
complimenting my
underused
English.
word. I'm gonna start using that a lot more.
Do you know what sporadic means, Chris?
It means like over, like I don't know, like a large number.
Well done.
I want to say thanks. That's the
This
English
is
lesson complete. There we go.
This is the
Bye,
educational
podcast
portion of
done.
the podcast done. The first sporadic reports of the wrong items being delivered initially seemed too unlikely to be true, but they kept on appearing late into last night before the issue started to blow up more widely today. Additionally, within Eurogamer, we've now heard from friends and colleagues personally affected. The wrong items included in each box are different, but the accounts are similar. A delayed delivery, then an Amazon box with clear tape rather than the company's usual branded seal. I mean, this is the
People are
gamer's worst
stealing it,
nightmare.
man. I mean, like, people are just stealing it. Like, I kind of expected this would happen. Do you? Like, I kind of expected people would. Like,
I was
people
expecting a
would do
bit more from humanity, personally.
Well, I wasn't. I think you overestimate humanity, if I'm honest with you.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, people, like, I don't know, just like I said, I'm gonna be honest with you. If I didn't have that worry when I was getting, like, I'd be lying if I said I didn't have that worry when I was getting mine. You know, I thought, what if somebody steals it? What if something else comes in the box and stuff like that? And you know, especially with all these scalpers, and people are actually paying like over £1,000 and dollars for these PlayStation 5 consoles, right? Which is ridiculous. Don't do that, right? Don't do that, people. Don't give in to the scalpers.
Just wait until they stock up again. It's fine.
And because people are obviously seeing that they can get away with this, people like delivery drivers and stuff like that. I mean, I'm not accusing delivery drivers. I'm not saying every delivery driver will do it. What I'm saying is people will.
They have an opportunity.
Yeah, they'll go, oh, I have an opportunity to make £1,000 out of this, or you know, 2,000, or maybe, you know, it's just how it is. Or even if they want it for personal gain, you know, they'd be like, oh, I really want this. I didn't get a chance to pre-order it. I'm jealous.
I
wanted this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's you can't trust it, can you?
It's really
not guaranteed
sad, you know?
anymore.
And I don't think Amazon is just the only one that's like fell victim to it. Like I said, Yodel. People have been stealing that, and their packages have been lost, quote unquote lost.
Yeah.
And it's just such a shame. Why would you do that? I mean,
that's why you go into the shop and buy it yourself.
But you're not allowed this year. Sony have said you're not allowed to buy in stores. They're not doing it.
Well, luckily, I'm not buying a PlayStation, huh?
And you know, to anyone who this has happened to, I do feel sorry for you. Especially if you don't have a cat.
I do feel sorry for you.
Especially
yeah, just getting a bunch of cat food in the mail. Yeah. Because at least you get something out of it.
But not just that. You have to get a refund. They can't even like give you a new. They can't even send you a PlayStation 5. You have to get a refund.
You have to go through the process and order it again.
I'm nowhere near where you know what I mean. And I take it from someone who is so excited for the PlayStation 5, and I'm sure
it's just a pain in the arse for everyone.
I do feel from. I really do.
I just feel like we just didn't need it this year.
Yeah, we did do.
This is something we didn't need.
And whoever's doing this, the delivery drivers, whoever's done this, please stop. This is disgusting behaviour. This is not good. All right.
And we will find you.
We will find you. But just don't do it. Like, why are you gonna do that? I know everybody wants a PlayStation, but just don't steal. What's that gonna achieve? You're just gonna
exactly.
I don't know how people.
But yeah, I mean, you know, it's not the end of the world. You know, you will get a refund. You just have to, you know, hope and get it at a later date. You'll get it eventually.
Hopefully, stock will be up by Christmas, and you will get your PlayStation 5s, and you know, it all, you know, evens out.
Christmas time is ideal for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I do feel sorry for you if you're getting
sad times ahead, huh?
So in other news, let's talk about something a little bit happier. Cyberpunk 2077. I think we're all can agree this game. I think we speak about this like every week on the podcast about how excited we are for this game and how much we love it. So the previews are out for Cyberpunk 2077, which means that the sort of gaming journalists of the world, like IGN, GameSpot, Eurogamer, have had about 16 hours to play with the Cyberpunk.
16 hours.
As you can expect, it's amazing. And apparently 16 hours isn't even scraping the surface, as you can imagine. 16 hours you'd imagine to be a full-length campaign game, right? I mean, half that, I think. Yeah,
8 hours for a single-player campaign.
And 16 hours, you're not even scraping the surface of what Cyberpunk has to offer. That just tells you the vast of this world, right? So the general sort of consensus is that it's quite a slow-burning game, so it takes time to build up in terms, which you can kind of imagine. It takes time to build up in terms of the story and stuff like that.
Sure, of course, yeah.
But it has amazing amount of options and depth. So the amount of conversations you can have and different paths you can actually go down is just ridiculous, right? It's stupid. It's like a real life conversation. You can just. I don't even think there's that many options in real life conversations.
What do you mean?
I don't know. But apparently the city as well is a new revelation in terms of the open world games. There's no other city out there in games that is quite like this city.
Getting goosebumps, man.
I know. I mean,
I want
in
it.
terms of
I
what
want this
this
game
means,
now.
I don't really know. But what I can imagine is, open world games, like open world cities, rather. You can't really go into every building. You can't really
you can go into key buildings.
Yeah,
but you can't go into a standard apartment block.
But
for example,
from this, what I gathered is it has a lot of verticality to it. So if
Brilliant.
you, for example, if you, like you said, go into an apartment block, you can go into every floor if you want. You can.
That's amazing, man.
I mean, I'm probably going to spend
insane.
about 3 hours on one gaming session just looking for one apartment.
I'm going to spend 3 years.
Just what's going on in this apartment? One other thing, they said combat isn't quite as straightforward as Call of Duty, for example, like a first-person Call of Duty.
I don't expect it to be.
It's more of a tactical one in terms of, you can be very stealthy or, going in straightforward is hard, but you've got to kind of build up that sort of skill tree
exactly.
to it.
There are plenty of ways
tanky.
to get around.
I mean, in terms of that playstyle, what do you think you would do? Do you think you want to try and be stealthy? Do you think you just want to go in there guns blazing? What's your...
It's hard because I want to be as adventurous as I can, exploring all these different ways of playing. But I've always just been straightforward, just run and gun, hope for the best. I'd like to be a stealth kind of player, but I've never been good at it.
I think stealth in this game is going to be so fun. The amount of options you can do.
It's going to be useful.
It's just going to be so cool. But that's the sort of general consensus that they just want to play more. That's what they've said. 16 hours, they just want to play more. And on Thursday, there was the last, well, I say last, they said it was the last Night City Wire, right? But is it the last? Will we get another delay?
I don't know.
Hopefully.
I hope not.
But they reassured us that 10th of December is going to be the day we get to play the game. That's what they said, okay? So that's what, 19 days? 3 weeks
It's
away?
not long. It's 18 days.
And we were meant to have it the other day, man.
I know.
Anyway, let's let bygones be bygones. Let's not worry about the past. Anyway.
Yeah.
So they did the last Night City Wire. I can't believe I'm saying that. Which basically just showed off Keanu Reeves, right? Just showed off a bit more about his character. And his character is a bit more of a dick than I thought he was going to be.
I was expecting him to be a bit of a dick.
Oh, did you? I kind of thought he would be a friendly neighborhood guy just helping you out.
Don't you remember the original cutscene saying we've got a city to burn?
Yeah, but I thought I was just.
What do you mean he's friendly? He's a friendly guy.
I thought when he said
that,
I thought he sort of meant I don't know. I thought it was he was doing it to help the people of Night City. I thought he was a vigilante.
No, I'm sure he is, but he's just a bit of a hardhead, isn't he?
He is. But what we learn from his story is that he's more about revenge on specific people rather than doing it for the greater good.
No, I'm not surprised about that.
Yeah.
I can see him being a bit selfish,
So essentially, I mean, do you want to know the sort of basis of the story? I mean, I don't want to spoil it for anyone.
Well, I mean, you can give us
a
vague kind of story.
So what your character does is you basically steal, turn it off if you don't want to spoil this for anyone. You want to go in completely blind, right? But essentially,
I'll mute my mic.
What your character basically does is steal this chip which you put in your head, which essentially is meant to sort you out for life. So you're meant to become so rich from it, you don't ever have to do another job again.
Brilliant.
This chip is actually the life of Johnny Silverhand, which is Keanu Reeves' character.
Okay.
And he sort of, like, you have to help him with his journey and getting revenge, essentially.
Okay.
And he's sort of taking over, but you don't want him to take over. And it's a whole, it's a whole thing. So essentially, he is in your mind. I didn't expect that. I didn't think he was going to be dead and you were going to,
It's kind of like a Joker scenario in
like
Batman.
Joker in Batman game. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's so fun. I think that's going to be so fun. Just, having him around all the time.
I'm fine with him being there. He seems like an interesting character. I just want to see more of him.
Exactly. And then they did show off the final gameplay trailer. I don't know if you've seen that. Have you seen that? It's about a 5-minute trailer, and it just looks amazing. I mean,
it looks
the
amazing.
bit which highlights to me is not the combat. It's not anything like that. It's right at the end where they said you can choose where you spend your money on, and then they showed. What's it called? They showed roller coaster rides.
Yeah,
they showed cars.
Right.
They showed apartments. They showed sleeping with people. Like everything. Right?
It's the true RPG experience.
Like, and right at the end, they finalise with "Welcome to the next generation of open world games," and I think that says it all. I mean,
this is what we need.
I feel like this is going to be the next generation of open world games. I think this will be.
This is going to stand out from any RPG.
This is going to be so close to real life. It's going to be hard to.
It's going to be hard to not play it.
To not know which is real life and what's not. This is going to be the Matrix. Like,
damn, jeez. Keanu Reeves is there as well.
Exactly, see?
Oh, no.
But I think we could go over and over again, but I think we both
I'm so ready for this game.
And now I've got the PlayStation
just can't
5.
wait.
I'm even more ready for it.
My only issue is that I don't have a next-gen console yet. Or, like, my TV's fine. It's not the best TVs, but
Black
it's a
Friday
decent one.
coming up soon.
Yeah, I know.
Deals,
Potential is potential there. But the thing is, I'm not sure if I'm going to get the full experience if I'm playing on current gen.
I mean, I do trust CD Projekt. I don't think they will. The reason why they did this delay supposedly was because it was struggling on. I want to say current gen. Is it current or previous now? I think it's previous gen now, right?
I'm going to continue calling it current gen until next year. I think.
Okay, fair enough. Because I mean, they're out now, so I guess current gen is PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X.
It doesn't sound right.
It doesn't sound right. It sounds weird, but I think that's current. I'm going to say that's current gen, and previous gen is PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Okay, that's just for everyone. Nope, you're bullshit. Lie.
I don't believe you.
So
it's not current gen until I own it.
That was the reason they delayed it. Why they wanted it the 10th of December is because there was issues.
I mean, what's your opinion on the amount of times we've delayed the game?
I don't want to talk about that. I think,
oh God,
I have my opinion.
Too many bad memories.
I know I really want this game, but at the same time, I don't want it filled with bugs. I don't think anyone does. So I'm sure I'm mad that they're taking the piss with.
But as soon as we get it, it's going to be flawless.
But I hope. But that's what I mean. If I play this game and I love it, I will be like, okay, you're forgiven. If that makes sense.
Worth the wait.
If I play it and there's still like a million bugs and the game is horrendous, I'll be like, well, come on now.
What have we be doing?
But yeah, I mean, that's the reason for it. So I don't think you have to worry about it not playing as good. I mean, I don't think it will be as graphically good or as smooth as current gen. But loading times are going to be a lot slower. But I do
it'll still be good though.
It'll still be great. I mean, I don't think you'll miss out on any of the gameplay aspects, but I do think to get the full potential out of this game, you do want to play it on the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X.
Well, I mean, if I get it on Xbox, it's always a free upgrade to next gen anyway.
You got free yeah, exactly. And I don't think
I just need to play it. Man.
Exactly.
I don't care if it's current gen or next gen or whatever. I just need it.
I'm sorry, but you can't call this your game of the year if you don't play it this year. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair.
There we go. Yeah, I think that's fair enough, innit? You can't call it your game.
Well, I'm definitely getting it this year. It just depends when. It depends if it's going to be on launch day or maybe
it's mad to think
Christmas.
It'll be out like 2 weeks before Christmas.
Oh man.
Yep.
I just need this in my life.
Christmas presents to get. Anyway, on to the next. onto the next.
Here's the next session. Chris's shopping list for Christmas.
You take this one.
Okay. So this is a bit of different news. It's quite exciting news. Probably a bit more for you, Chris, than me. This involves The Last of Us. It's having a TV show and it's given the green light. I don't know how you feel about that initial thoughts.
Well, I mean, we talked about The Last of Us. Like we talked about it when it was announced, right? A while back on the
How
podcast.
long ago was it announced?
Oh, I don't know. Ages ago now. I think it was like July, I want to say.
July. Oh wow. Okay.
And we sort of talked about how we feel about how game series are affected now and how they're taken, and they're getting a lot better than what they used to be. Like The Witcher and stuff like that. The one thing I kind of thought it was already given the green light, if I'm honest with you.
I assumed it was as well. I guess it was just an announcement teaser.
Yeah, I don't really have much
well,
to say.
Well, I mean,
let's
let's get into it a bit more.
Yeah.
So this is from IGN. HBO has officially ordered a series based on The Last of Us video game franchise. HBO Executive Vice President of Programming Francesco Ori announced Friday. Though a series based on The Last of Us had been announced in discussion for some time now, like we just discussed, Chris, Friday's announcement reconfirms HBO's intent on the show and attaches a few key names to the project. Writing this series are The Last of Us creative director Neil Druckmann and Chernobyl writer Craig Mazin.
Nice.
Druckmann will also be executive producing the series alongside Cheryl Strauss, who's been involved with Chernobyl and Game of Thrones.
Wow.
As well as Naughty Dog president Evan Wells and PlayStation Productions Assad Quizilbash and Carter Swan.
Now,
that's a huge lineup
huge
for writers and,
behind that. Like, that's strong, isn't it? I mean, first of all, Neil Druckmann is actually having a say in this. He did the story for the two games, which is amazing.
It's got to be good then.
Chernobyl, I've heard, is an amazing series. I've never watched it myself, but I've heard Chernobyl is a very highly
and
rated.
Game of Thrones is fantastic.
And Game of Thrones. So, I mean, the backing behind that is incredibly strong, and it's given me so much confidence in this.
The problem is, you don't want to, if you hype, God, this is going to be quite a hype
The thing
show,
is,
I think.
with The Last of Us, you can make it because of the grittiness of the world, you can make it very much so like Game of Thrones, where somebody just dies randomly. You can make it like that. Yeah. And it's just going to
make it harsh.
I just feel like it's going to be a very dark and gritty world, and it's just going to be amazing.
I think this is quite a common question I find when there are shows or movies based on games. Do you think it will lose impact because we're not playing as the main characters?
No, I don't think so. I think, like I said, with the world, as long as they don't do it about Joel and Ellie, and just have them as Easter eggs. Right.
Who would you? So you want brand new characters?
I want it to be
in the games.
I want it to be in the world of The Last of Us.
Okay.
And have references to like the Fireflies, for example, and just the world. I don't necessarily want it to be about the characters because I already have those characters. Yeah. I already have them.
Do you want like a father-daughter, father-son kind of
it would be pretty cool.
Bond with the main characters like they've done with the last two games?
But I don't think they're going to make this about the game, because why would they hire the writers from the game? Like, do you know what I mean? They wouldn't need to do that because the writers would just be like, well, you already have my story, just take it from there.
Sure.
So I think they're going to go with a new path with it, and give me new characters. I don't need to jelly. That's great. Joel and Ellie. I've just made a combination of them both now.
Jelly, brilliant.
Joel and Ellie. I don't. That's a great combination. I just made that on the spot. Jelly.
Brilliant.
I don't need Joel and Ellie. I have those characters. I don't want them to be, I guess, tainted by other people.
But you said you want them maybe as like a.
Like as references, maybe like a little Easter egg, to pop in and out. I don't know. Everyone's different with series. Everyone thinks a series adaptation or like a film adaptation should be exactly the same.
Here's a question.
I don't agree.
If they did pop up, what actors would you think should take the
I think
role?
we all know. Hugh Jackman as Joel. I think that's... And...
Who would Ellie be played as?
Ellen Page. Is it named Ellen Page?
That's a good choice.
Yeah. Like, they're spot on. If I'm honest, I think that's perfect choice, right?
That sounds amazing. That's a good.
Sold it to Hollywood.
Casting.
If you're listening, Neil Druckmann,
can we get our $10 million, please?
Yeah, get Hugh Jackman and that into it. I mean, you haven't played the Last of Us series, but do you think you'd watch this TV show?
Oh, definitely. I've heard so many amazing things. I don't know the world as much as you do. I don't know the characters as much, but I know that it's known for its fantastic storytelling.
Yeah.
And the setting and the world it's in and the characters you see. So I definitely give this a watch.
Yeah, and the fact that they've got a lot more backing behind it now, is giving me more confidence.
The backing is a strong. That's a strong support.
Yeah,
I think. Like this is like a sports match. They have a
they have a strong defense. They're ready to do it. I think tactically it's going to be. Yeah, I think it's.
But those are good names. Those are good names. They've got it's really interesting that they have the writer of the series.
Yeah.
Giving his say so with this.
I personally think a series is like better to do an adaptation of a game rather than a film. Purely because you have just a bit more time, you don't have to rush
Definitely,
it.
yeah.
You
might not be able to get everything you want in a couple hours.
Exactly, and The Witcher did really well with it. I know they got another season. I think they got like 3 seasons coming still.
I wouldn't be,
But The Witcher did really well, and I think that's the way game adaptation should go, is TV series, personally. Because they have a lot more time, they don't have to rush anything, they have to shorten the story in like an hour and a half or 2 hours, But yeah, I guess... That's going to be good. I mean, I think
I think so. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, a quick question. If you had to, think of any other game series that would work well in a TV show, could you think of any? I
mean, you could say all of them, right? I mean, think about it. You could like.
I mean, think of a favorite game you like quite a lot. What would it work as a TV show?
God of War. Imagine a God of War series. But I think with the God of War series, you couldn't do what I said and just be about the world. Like a God of War series would have to be about Kratos and him
beating the
gods.
Shit out of all the gods.
Yeah.
Any casting there, Chris? Any actors you think would suit the role as Kratos?
I don't know. You're right. You're asking me too many questions. This is too.
I'm just
on
curious.
The spot now. I can't think of any directly.
That's what you get. Questions on the spot.
Let's go on about the Game Awards announcement.
Brilliant. Change the subject.
So, the nominations for the Game Awards or Game of the Year are... I feel like I'm announcing them. I feel like
Are you announcing it yourself?
Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Ghost of Tsushima, Hades, Animal Crossing New Horizons, and The Last of Us Part 2. So, is this a surprise to you?
No, not at all. They're highly acclaimed games.
Yeah, I mean, I would go through all the other nominations like sound, but there's just so many of them. If you want to check them out, go on GameAwards.com. You've got different ones. I mean, they tend to be the general consensus with all the different genres and awards. Yeah. So if you had to pick one out of that lineup, which one do you think you'd go for?
Oh, God. They're all good in their own way. It's hard to compare them, I think. But I guess, I don't know, the game that kind of looked the best to me, I guess it would have to be Last of Us Part 2.
Yeah.
I think.
I think.
How do you rate all of them in order? Can you give me an order, like a tier list for them?
I don't think Doom Eternal is going to win Game of the Year.
No, it was a good game though.
It was a great game. I don't think I think it just doesn't have a sort of general high points, so like I can't imagine the story being great. I don't know. I've never played Doom Eternal, so I'm not judging it. I can't judge it fully,
it's hard
but I've
to
never
say.
played it. Animal Crossing New Horizons again doesn't have that.
Everyone said a lot of but everyone says that there's a lot of good things about Animal Crossing.
Hades, I've heard Hades is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can only judge based on what I've played. So that's Final Fantasy VII, Ghost of Tsushima, and The Last of Us Part 2, and Animal Crossing.
Right.
Animal Crossing would be my last one, I think.
Okay. Okay.
Then it'd be Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay.
Then, I don't know, a tie first, probably Final Fantasy VII Remake.
No ties.
All right, probably second would
first.
probably be Final Fantasy VII Remake, and then first would be The Last of Us Part 2. There we go.
Okay, that's a fair.
I think that's my general consensus.
Yeah. That's good. I mean, most likely, who do you think will win? Take away your opinion. What's most likely?
I do think it'll either be between The Last of Us or Ghost of Tsushima, if I'm honest with you. Just because I feel like that's had the most, I guess,
impact.
Yeah, impact on everyone. Well, maybe Animal Crossing. I don't know. Because again, you got to remember the year we're in, and a lot of people love Animal Crossing because it's such a nice, chilled game considering the year.
That is true.
So,
that's very true.
I don't know, maybe an underdog, or maybe even Hades. I don't think Hades will win purely because I don't think it's as popular as the others. But who knows?
Okay.
Who knows? I'm glad it's there.
Not even putting Doom Eternal in.
I know.
Giving your opinion on that.
Which one do you think will win?
Oh, I definitely think Last of Us Part 2. That's definitely had the biggest impact. It has the most discussion. There was a lot of controversial opinions on it. There was, like I said, there was a 50-50 split.
Yeah.
With people liking it, hating it. But I think it's got a lot of good points. It looks fantastic for previous gen now, I guess.
Yeah.
For previous gen, it looks breathtaking. It should have been on next gen. It's guaranteed to be on next gen.
Yeah. Exactly.
The gameplay is solid. It's hard because Last of Us Part, the first one was such a, I guess, it's a hard game to beat, I suppose.
Exactly. Yeah.
But it's taken all the good bits from Last of Us 1 and expanded on it, and what can go wrong there?
Yeah. Exactly. So, do you want to segue us into our next? That concludes the news. Do you want to segue?
Game of the week.
So, this isn't a game of the week for me. This is a console of the week. This is a console review.
Get out of here. What are you doing?
So, we haven't really talked about the review of the console of the PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X because we didn't have one. I have got my hands on the PlayStation 5 now, right? So I'm not going to compare it to the Xbox Series X purely because I don't have an Xbox Series X and haven't experienced one, okay? So I'm just going to talk about the PlayStation 5 and what I feel about it and give my sort of overall review. Okay. I'm not going to talk in depth about the games because I'll leave that for like next week's episode when I've played a bit more of it.
Sure, yeah, gotcha.
So I got my hands on the PlayStation 5 last Thursday, so I've had the weekend to play with it. And first of all, it is a beast in terms of the size. The images didn't even do it justice. Like I thought it was. I heard people saying it was huge, but this, I don't know. I didn't expect it to be this big. That's what she said again. Exactly. So many sexual innuendos. It's huge. Like I can't even stress to you how big it is. Like when you see it, it's.
I feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Can you stop talking about the size of it?
But it's a beast. Like I mean, it's big.
So it's the biggest console to date?
It's definitely the biggest console to date. Like, it's huge. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, I can see how some people would have a problem with it. But it fits just about right under my TV stand, so I'm not complaining.
Is it standing upright or is it on its side?
It's on its side. So I got
Isn't the intention meant to be upright?
I guess it just doesn't matter. It depends how you like it, right? But it looks... it looks slick. It looks okay. I mean, we've had the look of it, for a couple of months, well, good few months now. So there's not really much to say about that. The controller. Now, I really want to talk about the controller. The controller is...
You look excited.
Amazing. Like, I mean, I think it's the best controller I've ever held my hands on. It's perfect for me because my sort of ideal sort of controller would be a combination between the Xbox controller and the PlayStation 4, right? Okay. I always thought the Xbox controller was a little too big, and I always thought the PlayStation controller was a little too small. This feels like it's combined.
Is that it?
Yeah, this combines them both together and makes it, I don't know, it feels right in your hands, it feels where it should be. I don't know, that's how I feel about it.
Okay.
And it's so comfortable, I don't feel like, the thing is, like, the Xbox One, I didn't really agree with the analog sticks being in different positions, if that makes sense.
No, I think that's how it should be.
I disagree with that. See, I just don't really like that.
It just feels right.
And
I'll fight you to death with it.
I feel like it's just based on what you sort of grew up with and what your preference is, right? So it is subjective. Yeah. But tell you what isn't subjective, and that is the DualSense haptic feedback. Everyone can agree how fucking incredible that is. Like, I mean, there's basically a built-in game on there called Astro's Playroom, right? And it sort of shows off. And if you have a PlayStation 5, play it, because it definitely shows off what the sort of future of the DualSense will be and how haptic feedback can actually have an effect, right? Okay. So the vibrations are amazing. Like, the vibrations actually vibrate where the vibration is coming from on screen. So, for example, if a missile is going past you on the right, you will feel the vibration start at the top right of the corner and then go through as it's passing. Gotcha. If that makes sense. So the
vibration moves across the controller.
It moves across the controller. It's not
projectile's
just
aiming.
Exactly. It's not just in one position, right?
Gotcha.
If you've got to blow something, like, I don't know, if you've got to... so many sexual innuendos. If
what
you've
are
got
you doing?
To, blow a fan or whatever, you can actually breathe into the microphone and it'll make the fan go.
That's pretty fucking cool.
But the most impressive thing to me is the haptic triggers. So when you pull a gun, it feels like a trigger. Like, I mean, I've never used a gun, right? Other than a Nerf gun. But when you, like, I was playing Borderlands, for example, the other day, and oh my god, it feels like you're pulling a gun trigger. Like, it like feels tough, and then as soon as you click it, it feels like you've clicked it's just, I can't even explain. See, it's like I've seen so many reviews about it, and they say you can't really explain it. You have to play it for yourself, and that's true.
Okay.
You have to play it for yourself. It feels like an actual gun, right? Pulling. So it's amazing when I'm playing Borderlands and I feel like I'm actually shooting a gun, right?
That's good.
And not just that, with Borderlands 3 specifically, it just shows what the guns can do. So you have a lot of element weapons, right? So you have poison, you have fire, you have electricity, and stuff like that, right? As you change sort of element type, so if you're in poison, the lights on the actual DualShock will turn green. If you're using a fire weapon, it will turn red. If you're using electricity, it'll turn blue. It's very cool. Like little things like that, but it's very cool.
That's pretty cool.
So with the haptic triggers as well, if you're shooting and you're using like a sort of assault rifle, it will jitter back and forth as you're shooting it. So it feels like a gun's actually shooting. Like you're looking confused. But
no, I was trying to like get my head around it. But yeah, that's pretty cool.
Have you seen that video of the guy playing the PlayStation 5 with Call of Duty Cold War? And he shows off the haptic feedback, so he pulls the trigger.
No, I have not.
Well, you should watch that, right? And it just shows off what it is. And honestly, it's amazing. It feels like a next step in generation of gaming, if that makes sense. Like it feels
next gen.
It feels like I'm pulling the trigger. It feels like I'm pulling the gun trigger. And
that's great.
What they can do, like when you're pulling the bow as well, you can feel the tightness of the bow as you're pulling. So further back you go, it gets harder to pull it back.
Oh right.
Yeah, and it's just
cool.
just incredible. So I mean that is just awesome. I mean the touchpad is pretty much exactly the same as what it was on DualShock. It functions exactly the same, but it's amazing. I'd probably, for the actual controller, I'd probably give it a 10 out of 10. Like the actual controller review.
The controller itself.
It's just amazing. Like I said, it just has so much potential to it, and what game developers will be able to do with this is just going to be, my mind's just like poof. Do you know what I mean? So let's talk about the actual console and how it performs then. First of all, it loads of games. So Miles Morales, for example, I'm playing it from actual shutdown, so when it's off, the console is off, to when I actually controlling Miles, it's about 6-7 seconds.
You're joking?
Nope, it's about 6 or 7 seconds. Like,
so turning the console on to playing the game, 6 seconds?
About 6 seconds, yeah.
So you timed that, did you?
I timed that, and it's about 6,
That's mental.
6-7 seconds. With Demon's Souls, again, it's about 6-7 seconds. The only reason why these games take so long is the sort of starting bit, where they show off the companies, but that's nothing to do with loading times. That's just companies, showing off their, who they are.
It's like when you start a movie, you can't
skip
count
the
that
intro,
as part of the movie because it's just showing all the producers and studios.
But that's 6 seconds with that start bit as well. So imagine that. And Borderlands always used to take ages to load on PlayStation 4 for me. And again, that probably about 10 to 15 seconds. It's just it's incredible. I mean, I knew loading times were going to be gone, but I used to be in a bad habit of when I start a game, I pick up my phone, scroll through Twitter or whatever.
I do that.
As soon as I start a game and I pick up my phone, because I'm so used to it, I pick up my phone and I'm ready to play. I'm like, what? I'm like, what? So I put my phone down. I'm like, hold on, I don't have a chance to actually use my phone anymore. Like that's how incredible. Like, and when you die on Demon's Souls and when you fast travel to another world, it's 1 or 2 seconds. Like, I mean, 1 or 2 seconds. There's no, like, it's unreal. I'm not even exaggerating either. When you die, you literally, I was like, because Dark Souls took a while to respawn. I was like, dead. I'm gonna have to wait ages now. But you don't. You literally, it's like 1 or 2 seconds. You're back in the. It's just, I don't know, man. It's hard to explain how amazing it is.
I want a PlayStation though.
Yeah. Obviously, I can't. Like I said, I can't speak for Series X. I know their loading times are probably just going to be just as good. But in terms of the PlayStation, that is amazing. In terms of the performance and graphics, it's stunning. I mean, I think you've seen it on YouTube, but it doesn't do it justice because YouTube obviously lowers the frame rate and stuff like that.
Of course, yeah.
but the graphics are amazing. I personally prioritize performance mode because I like that 60 FPS. But when I was flicking back and forth between 60 and 30, it's like hard to play a 30 FPS game now because I feel too privileged. You know, I feel like too snobby.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
like, I can't play a 30 FPS game. What are you talking about?
Sure.
And it feels jittery and slow, and I don't know why. It's like, that didn't feel like that.
I'm just kind of used to 30 FPS.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I was like. I was used to it. But then when you see 60 and then go back to 30, it's like living in a mansion then going back to a caravan, I want to say.
That's a huge change.
That's like driving a Ferrari and going back to a bike.
Go on. A bike.
Bicycle, a bicycle.
I'm not sure if these are working.
These
here.
are not good analogies, but you know what I mean. And the graphics and how the game actually plays, it feels next gen. It feels like a step in the right direction. The user interface for the whole PlayStation 5, I think, has gone a step forward. I think it's better than what it was on the PlayStation 4.
Okay.
I think, it's smoother, it runs a lot quicker, it's not as janky and slow. It's more prioritized on the actual application than it is. So like with the PlayStation 4, there was a massive square in the middle of what this was and what this game was, and the media and stuff like that, whereas now it's a tiny little square and it shows off the whole of Demon Souls, for example.
That's pretty cool.
And so for example with Demon Souls as well, if you're in the middle of a level, it tells you what percent, like you go on the home, it tells you a sort of walkthrough if you want to see it, if you want to need a little help with it. It tells you what percentage of the way through you are of the level, tells you if you've missed something. It's like a little background guy helping you out. It's really cool.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if every game's going to do this, but I imagine they'll have it. For all the PlayStation exclusives, they'll have it. But there's not much else to say, really. I think it's just overall an amazing console. And like I said, to me, it feels like a next-gen experience.
I see. Well, I mean, so far you've given you've praised it. Is there any downside?
I mean, there are a couple of
anything you noticed that isn't great.
There are a couple of sort of bugs I've noticed. So there was one bug where I downloaded Miles Morales, and if I pressed cop, but there's a reason for it. So essentially, when I took the disc out, it would uninstall Miles Morales just randomly.
Oh right.
When I put it back in, it'd reinstall it. The reason for this is because I was pressing copy. Instead of just letting it download naturally. It's a long story. I mean, if you had it, you probably find the issue online.
Out of curiosity, how long did it take to install?
From a disc, I mean, I don't really download games. Downloading probably is based on your internet. But from a disc, Miles Morales is about 50 gigabytes. It took about 20 minutes.
That's insane.
That's insane, right? It's
That's
not SSD,
great.
Bro.
It takes me an entire day.
Yeah, I mean, I do recommend everyone to
gigs.
get a disc version because it'll just install so much quicker. Unless your internet is just flying, then obviously, by all means,
then just download away.
But yeah, I mean, generally, that is this is so quick. I was impressed by it as well. Like I put the disc in, had some food, and came back, and it was instantly done. I was like, right, amazing.
It's done. That's amazing.
So yeah, there are a couple of bugs, but you kind of notice it. You kind of expect it rather with a brand new console. I wouldn't say they're groundbreaking ones, or at least the ones I've experienced aren't groundbreaking. But yeah, I think that sort of wraps it up for me. Do you have any other questions about it?
I don't think so. I just want to play it. I just want to use it.
So
I want to buy one, but I can't afford it.
My official Game Junkies review. I'd say a 9.5 out of 10 so
9.5.
Yep. For the overall console.
That's I mean, that's the general kind of consensus with a lot of reviewers and that kind of critics and whatnot.
Yeah. So I think that's a solid
PlayStation is getting high praise. I think.
Exactly.
I think they've done it right.
And I think that's a good score. I think that's fair.
Brilliant.
So what have you been playing this week?
So I don't have the next gen console, so I apologise. I'm not going to be able to do like the counterpoint.
It'd be cool
Xbox.
if you could do the Xbox one, but maybe when you get the Xbox, if you get it.
When I get when I get it, I'll give my give my take on it. But until then, I can't afford it, and leave me alone, everyone. So exactly. So my game of the week is Halo 4. Okay. So basically, what happened? MCC, known as the Master Chief Collection, updated last Tuesday. And Halo 4 is now officially on PC.
Nice.
Completing, which completes the Halo collection on PC, apart from I think 5. So all the Halo games are now in this collection on PC now, which all PC players, good for you, great. Xbox, for all our hard work, we get a 42GB update, so that's nice. To get Halo 4, to get basically each time they install a new Halo game, it's like a new season. So now MCC is on season 4, I think.
Okay. Which
is interesting. I don't like how the seasons work personally, but I'm not going to talk about it. Let's move on. Let's just move on. So yeah, PC get Halo 4 now, which is good. All PC players get to experience 343's new game. Xbox get a few updates to improve user-friendly base and whatnot. So Halo 4 is 343's first game. It's huge shoes to fill since Bungie's departure from the franchise. So there were a lot of high hopes, a lot of negative criticism before the game came out. Just a lot of mixed reviews. Did you remember how you felt? Did you play Halo 4?
Yes, I did. I played it on 360.
Did you have any feelings? What was your feelings on it before it released? Did you have any when the trailers were out? Did you get high hopes for it?
Honest, but I remember how I felt when I played.
Well, it was a while ago.
It felt very heavy.
Different.
I felt heavy, if that makes sense. I felt like my movements were heavy. I didn't feel as quick as I did in Halo 3, for example, or Halo Reach. Heavy in the sense that I felt janky. When you're moving about, it feels like your movements were heavy. I don't know how to describe it more.
I get what you mean. I felt heavy as well. Definitely, like you said, janky. The movements were quite slow. Yeah. It's funny because that's the first game that introduced sprint.
Yeah,
as a normal function to the game,
slower,
which is quite fun.
Yeah.
Well, I think in the Bungie era games, the movement speed for your character when he's walking or jogging or whatever is is faster compared to the games released now.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you might have felt a bit slow. It's mainly because since obviously the Bungie games didn't have sprint, your base movement speed was a bit quicker, I think.
Yeah.
But now since sprint is added, they try to slow you down a bit. So it encourages you to sprint more, I suppose.
Yeah.
So what is Halo 4? It is a FPS sci-fi shooter based I think it's 4 years after the events of Halo 3.
Okay.
The story, how would I explain the story? I won't go into it in depth. Basically, this you have the summary. It focuses on this new brand of aliens called Prometheans. Prometheans are like this kind of ancient civilization in the Halo universe. They weren't really touched on that much in the Bungie era games, so they thought they'd bring that to a highlight. They have this leader called the Didact. Didact, it's a shame he was wasted. He was kind of just killed off in the first game. Yeah. Spoiler alert, but it's been 8 years. He was it was a semi-interesting villain. I feel like he had potential, but that potential kind of he kind of just died. I was like, oh, okay. I wonder what we're gonna do next game. So that was a shame. I think the story focused on quite a bit. My favorite part they focused on a lot was the relationship between Master Chief and Cortana. They definitely made it quite a more personal story. They didn't really talk that much in the last game. You could tell they had a relationship. Not like a relationship, but they cared for each other in the last games. But I think this is the first game they kind of went more in depth.
Is a master simp, is what you're saying.
Don't you dare say that again. Don't you dare downgrade the Master Chief like that. Actually, to be honest, yeah, he was.
He was just, he was.
Yeah, he was. He's the Master
No
Chief.
sugarcoating Master Chief.
How could you do that to him, man?
I apologize.
But yeah, it's definitely more of an emotional rollercoaster, Halo 4. Cortana is essentially dying doing this game. AIs are apparently meant to live for 7 years, and they're meant to kind of essentially go crazy after the 7th year.
She does.
Yeah, exactly. And she's been alive for 8 years. So it's basically a story of how to essentially fix her and make sure she doesn't die. And it kind of results in for the Halo community, it results in the most depressing ending, I think, for any of the Halo games. It's highly debatable, I think, that claim. But spoiler, it's been 8 years, so I'm gonna say it now. Cortana dies.
Yeah.
And it's
But
quite an emotional. Well.
Right, we're going off on a
Well, Chris, do you want to talk about that?
No,
because
no,
this is
we'll
a Halo
talk
4
about
review.
We're
We're pretending this is the latest Halo game, Chris. So
I think Halo
Cortana
should
is
have died
dead.
at 3 or Reach. Sorry, that's just my opinion.
God, jeez. I mean, to be honest, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I kind of agree.
Yeah.
But Halo 4 was, I didn't mind it. I preferred the story over the gameplay. I appreciated they tried to go more in depth with the relationship between Cortana and Chief. Didact was meant to be an interesting villain. He was canned off, which was a shame. That was kind of a downside. But I thought the story was interesting enough to pique my interest, I think. But let's move away from the story. Let's talk about the gameplay. So with the gameplay, I've got that down to 4 points. You got weapons, you got enemies, you got vehicles, you got abilities. Abilities, they've kind of brought in the abilities from Halo Reach and added a few more. I definitely feel they're less useful. They're kind of extremely situational, that you wouldn't just bring to any kind of dogfight in the campaign or multiplayer. I tend to just avoid using them most of the time. The only one I use is this thing called a thruster pack, which just kind of boosts you to the side when you're in a combat, basically. And it's useful sometimes, but most of the time I kind of just don't use it.
Yeah.
So abilities are quite useless, which is a shame. They added a couple of new ones in the campaign, like a hard light shield, which is like a little barrier, but it's kind of a bit too weak. They have this thing called Promethean Vision, where it's essentially like, I don't know, like see-through, essentially. So you can see through walls, you can see the enemies there. It's kind of useful in matchmaking to a tiny degree, but it's not really used as much. But basically, just can abilities. Abilities aren't really used. Just pretend they aren't there, and you'll be fine. The weapons are... they've included quite a lot from the original games. We have the classic UNSC weapons, the classic Covenant weapons. They've replaced a few Covenant weapons. The plasma rifle, which is a staple in the Halo games, was replaced with a thing called the Storm Rifle. I think that got a lot of negative criticism because, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Why change it? It was kind of a worse version, which is a shame. The gameplay with the weapons, however, I think is very fun. I mean, the sound is so much more beefier and like real and like hard impacts, if you see what I mean. So when you're shooting a gun, you really feel it. I think the what's it called with the PlayStation? Was it haptic feedback or whatever? I feel like it would make quite an impact on this game. I think it would make sense. Like the sounds really feel like you're really shooting a proper gun. So it's really beefier and the guns have impact. The enemies are... Well, actually, no. Promethean weapons are shit. They introduced Prometheans as an enemy, and they have like some guns you can use, and most of them are pretty shit in Halo 4. Suppressor is kind of like a replacement for the assault rifle. It's rubbish.
Is the only good one, I think.
Scout shot is like the shotgun.
I think
that's okay.
Like, yeah.
Is that the only one you like?
I think so.
Is that the only one you remember?
I can't remember. Long shot is that one as well, or am I just going...
Long shot?
No.
I think there's one called I think it's called light rifle or something like that.
It might be that.
It's kind of like a blend between the battle rifle and DMR. Exactly. They aren't memorable. They're mostly shit. I tend to just avoid them at all costs, but I think in the campaign you have to use them at some point, just because ammo is so scarce. I think that was another criticism, actually. Ammo was quite low, so you ended up kind of running out of ammo quite a lot and finding quite useless guns that you have to use to progress, which is a shame, which is really annoying. A pain in the ass. Enemies. You got the Prometheans, you got the Covenant. They've taken away the Flood from the Bungie era games. You've essentially killed them off, so they had to bring in another... Chris is shaking his head. Crying his eyes out. Flood was great. They needed, they had to fill their shoes, and Prometheans... I appreciate the concept, but I just didn't think it worked out personally. I didn't think they were fun to fight at all. Promethean Knights, they're like the main enemies you fight against Prometheans. They're not very fun. They teleport a lot, so it's kind of hard to take them down sometimes. And they have this weird kind of melee attack where they just charge at you and you can't really dodge it. Yeah. So if you're playing on like a really hard difficulty, you're kind of screwed, essentially. So they're not fun to fight. I think you got things like Watchers who are like these. I don't know. They provide shields and they chuck away grenades and they revive enemies. And when you shoot them, they just fly away like cowards. That's really boring. Then you have crawlers. They're like grunts. They're like the low tier enemies. You can just one shot them, but they run around all the time. They try and tackle you a lot, which is really boring and really frustrating and annoying. And they're just not as fun to fight, in my opinion. The Covenant's the same as it was in previous games. They're fine to fight. They felt a bit different, but they were just okay. Last thing, I guess, is the vehicles. They feel different. I think they feel different. There's something off about them. The Scorpion, the Scorpion, which is the UNSC tank, it shoots a lot slower, and for some reason, when you shoot, you can see the canister around you firing, and it's a lot slower for some reason. Like it just stays in the air for a lot longer. Yeah. I don't know what it is, but it's just not as accurate as it used to be. It's kind of just like a downgrade of like the previous tanks in the other games. They redesigned the Warthog, classic Warthog. They made it a bit boxier, I suppose, and they included a new sound effect. I just didn't like it as much. It sounded weird. It drove weird. It looked weird. Get that out of my life, please. I can't really remember the other vehicles. You don't really use that much. The main new vehicle they added was the Mantis, which is like a weird cybernetic kind of huge suit, hulking suit you chuck on. I don't know. Basically, just imagine a Mantis as a robot, and it has missiles and a railgun, basically. And it's pretty cool. You can stomp on people, which is an interesting premise. It doesn't feel Halo, though. That's the problem. No. It doesn't feel Halo. It feels like a different game, in my opinion. I mean, did you have any? Do you remember much about like how you felt when you're playing the game, besides feeling heavy, like you said earlier?
I didn't really enjoy it as much, I don't think, as the originals. It just didn't have that. I don't know. It didn't have that, I guess, finesse that the other Halo games had. I don't know what it was. I can't really put my finger on it. I just know
it just felt off.
Yeah, it just didn't. It
didn't feel right.
It didn't feel right. And I can't really pin it down to one thing specifically. It just didn't feel right.
No, exactly.
So, what would you say your official game review is? I don't know why I mumble that.
Well, Chris, I think.
No thinking.
The thing is,
no thinking.
But that's how you function as a human being. You have to think.
We got to be determined and definitive. People rely on.
I mean, the thing is, there's quite a few things you can talk about. I could talk about forever. Any Halo game, I can talk in depth for hours. There's so many points you can make about. You could talk about music. You could talk about the multiplayer. You could talk about.
You're postponing the answer now.
I'm sorry, but there's a lot to talk about.
No, you're postponing about it now. I want to know the answer.
But okay, one thing: the music I liked.
I want to.
That's one thing.
Like these people rely on us. We need an overall score.
But music is an important thing when it's a Halo game. I don't care. You can say it again. I will make 1 point. 1 point. The music was interesting. The music was different. It was kind of techno. It was alien. It was refreshing. The one piece I enjoyed was Sierra 117. It's kind of like a staple in the Halo community. Go check that out. It's quite a good piece of music. But yeah, music is important within a Halo game. If you need good music to make it a good. No, but Halo's known for its music, especially Halo. And if it doesn't have good music, it's failed as a fucking game. So if it doesn't have good music, it needs to get out.
So what's your official game?
It's different. It's interesting. 7. Is that what you want to hear? It's a 7. Okay.
That's actually higher than I thought it was.
It's a 7 out of 10. Oh really? Yeah. What did you think?
I don't know. I was thinking like 6, 5 maybe.
7. I think 7's fine. It's a good game. It's just not an amazing Halo game. It's got an interesting story. Gameplay's lacking. Music is interesting, and the other online aspects are fine. Yeah. But it's kind of a downgrade from the other Halo games. But it's fine.
Fair enough.
It's a fine game. 7 out of 10. Leave me alone. I want to sleep.
Do you want to move on to the next segment?
Trivia round. Trivia round.
There we go. Okay, so do you want to explain this round, Jack? Since it's your turn.
Talked for like 10 years.
It's your turn doing it for me. Well, it's your own fault. You made such a big review. I guess.
Okay, trivia round. This is essentially where each week Chris and I find 5 quotes, and the other host has to guess which game it comes from. which game it
Where
comes
the
from.
game comes from, Spain.
And I get to provide a couple of hints to help him along if he is struggling.
Let's do it.
How are you feeling this week, Chris?
Always good. Will I feel good at the end? Depends how well I do.
That's true. I mean, in terms of your track record for the past
Please
month
don't
and a bit,
remind me. Please don't remind me.
it hasn't been great.
Leave the
You
past
have
in
done
the past,
better.
Please leave the past in the past.
I think I'm allowed to criticise you. You've had 5 out of 5s in the past, but I feel like October and I don't know. November was meant to be our month.
Today's the day. Today's the day.
Okay, 5 out of 5. Are you ready, Chris?
Yes.
Here's number 1. I quite like this quote. Okay. I hope you haven't been farting on anyone's balls. That would be very naughty.
Hint?
Yeah, I thought you would need a hint. It's based on an adult animated TV series.
You don't need another hint.
It is an RPG.
Adult animated RPG. Adult animated.
So it's based on an adult animated TV series, and it is an RPG. Think what adult animated TV shows are there?
So when you say animated, do you mean like anime, or do you mean like animated in terms
No,
of like?
yeah, animated as in it's not real life.
Right.
It's not anime, just like it's animated.
Right. And what was the so it's adult animated? And what was the second one? It's an RPG.
An RPG.
And what's the quote again? I obviously have no idea.
I hope you haven't been farting on anyone's balls. That would be very naughty.
Have I played?
Very strange.
I don't know. I actually don't know. I have to pass.
You might have played it.
I don't know this one. I have to pass.
Really?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Okay. It is South Park: The Stick of Truth.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
It makes sense now, doesn't it?
Yeah, that makes sense. I haven't really played it.
I swear you played a South
I
Park
played
game.
a little bit of it, but I haven't played that much. I played like 5-10 minutes of it. But yeah, that makes sense.
Wasn't there another South Park game?
Yeah, there is the Fractured But Whole is the second one.
Did you play that one?
I have played that one. Yeah, that was good.
Okay.
Okay, so that's okay.
Right. Well.
I didn't play it.
Okay. That's
not my
fine.
fault.
You,
Not really
well,
my
I
fault.
mean,
Yeah,
you have plenty
next
of
quote.
quotes.
Move on, move on,
You have
move
plenty
on,
of quotes
move on.
to get points on.
Move on,
Okay.
move on.
Here's number 2. What a contradiction a human is.
Hint?
4th game in the series.
See, what I don't like about a lot of these hints, they could be from any game. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like,
unless they're like
thing is,
the staple quotes.
When we first started doing these quotes, we were doing
Go on.
big quotes that everyone recognised, right? Now we're grasping at straws to find quotes that are just
Well, look,
there.
I mean, the problem is, I don't think that's true personally.
Anyway.
I think there were a lot of memorable quotes from a lot of different games, and if you're a fan of this game, you might recognise
So it's
it.
the fourth
That's the
game
thing.
in the series.
4th game in the series
What's the next clue?
takes place 200 or so years in the future.
And what's the quote?
What a contradiction a human is.
Fallout New Vegas.
Nope.
Fallout 4?
This is Fallout 4.
Oh, the fourth one's Fallout New Vegas.
No,
What's
it says
the fourth
4th
one in
game.
the series? What the
It's the
fuck?
4th number.
That's not fair. That was a very misleading hint. That was.
No, that's the point.
The fourth
it's,
one in the
you know,
series is
4th
New
game.
Vegas. Yeah, the
Says
fourth,
the 4th game.
The 4th game is
Yeah.
New Vegas.
The official 4.
No,
The
that's
official.
the 5th game.
Official.
No, I
It's
don't
the
agree with
official
that. I
4.
think that's horrendous.
Well, I'm
I
sorry.
I
No,
get half
not
a
true
mark
at all.
for Fallout.
Yeah, you
But
do.
I think that's
Half mark.
a terrible hint.
You said Fallout.
I think that's
it's the 4th
misleading.
game.
Misleading.
It's the 4th game. 4th game.
Judge, misleading.
I am the judge.
Sustained. No. Well,
So-
okay. It's
So
unfair. Next
half
quote.
mark.
Fuck this. I quit. Fuck this. Next quote.
Well.
That was misleading.
Okay.
I remember
Number
that.
3.
Please,
Well,
next week.
I remember many times where you've got things wrong. I don't think that was wrong at all.
Next
But we're
quote.
going to move on
Next quote.
before I get to
We
your
are
house and fucking
fighting each
fight
other
you.
through the screen.
Okay, here's number 3. He turned us into killers.
Hint, please.
This should give it away, I think. Has a horrific scene involving white phosphorus.
Oh, Call of Duty Modern Warfare.
No,
What?
completely wrong. Spec Ops: The Line.
Oh, I've never played that.
Have you not really?
No,
Have you not seen the cutscene with White Phosphorus?
No, I've never played that.
They're basically fighting the enemy, and then they realise they use white phosphorus, and then they end up realising they've killed civilians, and it shows like a horrific, brutal scene.
I don't know anything about it.
Have you not really?
The only reason why I said Modern Warfare, you remember that scene where you're a child walking through the gas?
Walking through the
That's
streets.
what I thought,
yeah,
but
sure.
No, I have no idea about that.
Shit, I'm surprised.
No, it's
a well-known. That's a well-known scene. That is.
Well,
I'm surprised.
I'll have to watch it because I mean the only thing I know
should.
about that game is the
It's
name.
horrific.
That's it. I don't know
it's
anything.
brutal.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's a 2012 game. It's released a bit ago, but it's God. It when I was watching it, I was like, Jesus Christ, this is brutal. You should. It's like 6 minutes. Yeah. You should watch it. Right. Well, here's number 4. You got half a mark out of 3, Chris. You need to pick up the pace. Here's number 4. Rise, if you would, for that is our curse.
I'm gonna have a hint just to be
known for its difficulty.
Another hint because I want to get this right.
So I've looked into this properly,
okay.
And this clue is correct.
Okay.
And you might challenge me on it, but I know I'm right here.
Okay.
4th installment of the series.
And what's the quote again, please?
Rise, if you would, for that is our curse.
Dark Souls 3.
Yes.
Yes, I thought so. Because when you were saying 4th, no, because Demon Souls is the first, then Dark Souls 1, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, and then Bloodborne's just like a separate, Okay.
Exactly.
I knew it was Dark Souls from the start.
I wanted to make sure,
but I wanted to make sure. I wanted to know which Dark Souls
it's the 4th installment of the Souls franchise.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Good. Okay.
Nice.
I knew 1.5.
I knew that one.
Out of 4.
I just wanted to be sure which one it was. Okay.
Good. Exactly. 1.5 out of 4. It's not the worst.
Not the worst. That's good. Okay.
Well, hold on. Got half mark.
Yeah, go 1.5 mark. Yeah.
1.5. Okay. Well, here's number 5, Chris.
Okay.
It's a lengthy one, but I think the clues should be able to help out.
Okay.
I really hate this Black Dahlia guy. Have you seen the body? Fucking case just gnaws away at your guts. Hollywood. Every prom queen from every fucking hick town in America turns up here. Where do they end up? Gutted on the fucking sidewalk.
Hint.
It is a detective game.
Oh, LA Noire?
Yes.
Ah, okay. At first I thought GTA for some reason.
It sounds like it would be, Rockstar.
Well, it's Rockstar, yeah. At first I thought GTA, but then when you said detective, LA Noire, yeah.
Yeah. It's that's 2.5 out of 5. That's official half mark.
Yes.
But what if I told you, Chris, you can get an extra mark?
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
Does that you like the sound of
that?
An
extra mark, please?
This is the bonus quotes, ladies and gentlemen. This is where Chris has to guess the character rather than the game, and he gets 0 clues. Okay. How do you feel about this?
I feel fine. Let's do it. Just go.
You feel fine?
I'm in the zone.
Rip it off like a bandage. Okay. Okay, here we go. Duh, I know a place.
I know a place.
Well, the first word's important as well.
Duh.
I know a place.
I have no idea.
I'm trying my best
to
like,
so hard.
The character.
Like this last quiz, question is so hard.
I think you'll kick yourself.
Duh. I know a place. Are you saying it in a deep voice on purpose? Duh.
I'm trying to impersonate the character. Duh. I know a place. Yeah, everyone listening is going to be like putting their hands in their head like, what the fuck is he doing?
I have no idea.
You sure?
Yeah, I have no idea.
You don't want like a few seconds to take a stab in the dark? I mean, what game are you thinking of?
I don't know. All things.
You can tell me the game in your head.
Bulletstorm, kind of Borderlands, but it's not really a Borderlands quote. I don't know.
Right. Oh, well, okay. Go on.
Doom, or maybe... No, I don't know. Just go. I don't know.
Right, well, it's from Modern Warfare 2. Oh. It is Nikolai.
Oh, I have no idea.
At the
end.
Never
have guessed that.
Really? Yeah, you would never guess that?
I haven't played Modern Warfare
so at the end
years.
Like I thought you played the remastered campaign.
No. I played
so basically
at one mission from it.
Go on.
No.
So basically at the end, that's when Price is fighting Shepard, and you as Soap needs to pull out the knife and then throw it at his face. Remember that part?
That was such a good part.
And then Nikolai turns up, and Price is like, "We need to go, soldier." He's like, "Duh, I know a place." And then the cutscene ends.
Yeah,
you don't remember that? That's a classic.
I don't remember his. I don't remember his line that he said, but I remember it happening.
You remember Nikolai?
Yeah, I remember Nikolai.
God.
Yeah, I wouldn't have guessed.
What? Well, that is 2.5 out of 5. That's half marks, Chris.
It's not too bad. It's better than nothing, I guess.
It's better than what we've had in October, right?
Yeah.
We would get like ones.
Yeah, it's better than
1.5s.
Well,
so,
thank you for listening to the podcast, everyone. We do have a Patreon page, so if you'd like to support us and what we do, that would be greatly appreciated. You can check us out on Patreon/GameJunkies to find out more. Let us know on Twitter your answer to what your game of the year has been. It can be anything you played, but it does have to be from 2020. You can't just be one from 2015 that you've been playing this year. So let us know on Twitter @GameJunkiesOG, and we'll get back to you. So until then, I guess see you next week.
See you next week.